Hello, and welcome to my channel, Clairie Eliza. My name is Claire, and I'm so excited that you're here today, and I'm so excited that I am here today. I have been turning it around in my head for years and years to start a YouTube channel, and I think the time has come. I feel ready, and clearly you're ready, you're here too, so let's do it. So today I'll be starting with a pick-a-card reading for healing. It's going to be focused on any difficulties or disappointments or endings that you have experienced recently. I'd love to get you any encouragement I can and sort of help you get on your right path forward. Now, a reading through pick-a-card through the internet can only go so far. I can only get to a certain point in that message, but then the other half of that communion between the reader and the viewer, is that it's what you bring to it that's so special. It's what you use of your own experiences. Obviously, this is for you. And so just take that into consideration when you're listening to the reading today. It's very much a partnership between the two of us, and I look forward to sharing in that. And I look forward to hearing how everything resonates for you in the comments, and I'll see you there. So today we have 4 decks for you to choose from. We have Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4. See whichever deck is calling to you today. If more than one deck is calling to you, feel free to watch both. There will definitely be more messages for you there. And I will see you at your timestamp. All right, hello Group 1, welcome to your reading, and welcome to my first reading as well. So I think you guys are a little special, but we'll see. I'm excited to see what we have for you today. So we're going to start with your tarot. All right, so starting off, we have the 7 of Swords, we have the Ace of Coins, we have the 10 of Cups, we have the Queen of Swords, and we have the Queen of Cups. All right. Okay, so Group 1, you have some exciting cards here. So you have 2 Queens, you have the 10 of Cups, you have the Ace of Coins, but then we have this 7 of Swords. And I know the 7 of Swords hurts. But I think the thing to bring up first is simply the fact that we have 2 queens here. We have the Queen of Swords, and we have the Queen of Cups. And I see double power here for you. I see both a strength of mind and intellect and perseverance and self-assurance. But then we also have the Queen of Cups, so we see the depth behind that. We see the warmth. We see the energy. We see the connection to yourself. And I mean, who could ask for more? That's amazing. And balancing the two of those is difficult. And I almost feel like I wonder if that's part of it. I wonder if you have 2 really loud voices in your head sometimes. And that it's something that you kind of have to struggle with. Struggling between 2 really strong, powerful, clear, good voices. And I think sometimes the muddling of 2 clear voices can make both seem a little unclear. And I wonder if that's what's happening here a bit. Because then we also have the 10 of Cups and the Ace of Coins. And I almost feel like having these 2 together very much shows that you have wonderful potential. And not just potential, but you have promised success waiting for you in whatever that is. And whether this is this hardship or this disappointment that you have come to this video to think through, whether it's romance, whether it is your career, whether it's a family or a personal issue, whether it's some trauma or some healing that you need from your childhood, there is promise. There is great, great promise. And those difficulties are leading to that promise. These difficulties are the promise that you are going to something great. And that you have built both a very strong mind and a very strong heart. And those have always been innate within you. But it's that now it's sort of learning how to play with them. It's learning how to use them to your best advantage. And I think you have always done a good job of balancing the two. But I think what has come up with this Seven of Swords energy is that something has come and shaken your faith. Whether that faith is in the world, whether that faith is in a specific person or a specific job or a certain situation, or whether that's faith in yourself. I think either way, no matter what area of your life this is affecting, I'm sure that it has had an impact on your faith in yourself. And I think perhaps in part, this Seven of Swords, whatever way you were sort of, whether you were tricked or manipulated or just feel like you were brought to see something one way and then it ended up not showing up in that way. That can be a very, of course, a harsh blow to your faith and a harsh blow to your ego. And I think sometimes when we let our ego down, although it's not really us letting our ego down, it's our ego feels that way, I think we start to sort of turn in on ourselves a bit. And I wonder if that's why the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups, in comparison to the Seven of Swords, I wonder if this moment, this ending, this disappointment, this trickery, or whatever happened that allowed you to start to question yourself, I think it has started to turn your Queen of Swords and your Queen of Cups against each other a bit. And it's sort of course, that heart versus head, that mind versus spirit versus body. Like, I feel like there is a lot of back and forth going on. And I don't know if it's direct conflict, but you're hearing the voices perhaps on different frequencies, or even they're speaking on the same frequency, but they're sort of speaking at each other instead of you channeling both in a conversation that you are leading. And I think that is sort of where we need to get you back to, because the Seven of Swords, I think, almost disconnected you from your own connection with yourself in a way, in that beforehand, you know, when we're having a good time, when everything seems to be working out perfectly and you just have those magical days where the sky is shining a little brighter, the blue of the sky is clear, the sun is shining, and the grass is green. It's such a happy time and everything feels in perfect alignment. But then I think that Seven of Swords comes, and suddenly all the things you trusted in, all of the things that you had structured your way of analyzing the world around you, it's shaken and it's threatened. And I think perhaps in this difficulty, whether it was a job having to go in a different direction, or losing a job altogether, or having to quit a job for one reason or another, whether it's starting a new relationship and it not meeting your expectations, or showing you something very different just in general than what you expected, or maybe it is an ending of a relationship, or you're suddenly questioning if there should be an ending to that relationship. And I think it's sort of like you've been coming from the Ten of Cups. And I think what's hard about the fall from the Ten of Cups, especially when it's the Seven of Swords, is that it makes you question where you were when all of the good stuff was going on, when it was happy, when you were in that Ten of Cups energy. But then the Seven of Swords came. What happened? Was it ever real? Was it ever worthy? Did I do something wrong? Did I go down the wrong path for me? Did I make a mistake? And the answer is no. No. If you're happy in that moment, I believe that you deserved that happiness, you earned that happiness, and in the moment you felt that happiness. And that's important, and that should not be devalued. Now, the one thing with this is that you have the Ace of Coins. So even if you went from this 10 of Cups to the 7 of Swords, you also have the Ace of Coins, which means that fresh, abundant beginning is back. That feeling of, this was just a bump in the road, and I know that phrase is upsetting, but it's more than a bump in the road. It was a challenge that was necessary for you to hear your Queen of Swords and your Queen of Cups more clearly. And I think, if nothing else, it'll strengthen those voices. But let's start looking at your oracle cards and get a bit more information on what you're going through and what the universe wants to send you right now. All right, so very fitting for an endings video, we have the No from the Work Your Light deck. Wait, postpone, pause, and say no. So I take this as confirmation that this ending or this disappointment or this hardship was certainly necessary for you. And it's sad to say that something had to end. I've been through my fair share of endings, and a lot of them of my own making. And despite the fact that it's heartbreaking to see something that you trusted, something that you believed in, turn into something that you didn't ever think it would be, there is something so beautiful in resolutely saying no. And I am just so hopeful for you. And I also view this no as a no of the situation is a no. The universe is not saying no to you. The universe is saying no to your situation. And I think that is a much healthier way of looking at it, because all that communicates to your brain and to the beautiful Queen of Swords and the beautiful Queen of Cups who are waiting and ready to work with you, is that they're ready to find your next yes. And that's a yes that you will give to yourself. So our next oracle card is a little bit of a letter from the universe. So on the front of the postcard, it says, with love. Dearest you, we bet you must be so exhausted some days. Giving as much as you do, sharing your energy so beautifully in service to the highest good, can leave you feeling depleted, like an empty well. If it feels as if there's no more water for you, the good news is we have a plan. Today, go take a relaxing bath, book a massage, read a novel, buy yourself flowers, or plant some in your garden. Make time for self-care, not more, quote, work on yourself. By tending to yourself now, you are reminded to do so much more often. And be sure to use a word that might have caused you anxiety in the past, but is essential for your well-being now. No. Say it with us. No, thank you. No, I can't. You do not have to explain. Just say no, gently but firmly. Then go for a soak. Life will wait for you to bring yourself back to center, replenished and ready for more adventure. We love you so very much. Look at that, between this letter and the no. Guys, this is a good no. This is such a good no. And also, interestingly enough, when the letter was talking about saying no firmly but gently, that reminded me so much of both your Queen of Swords and your Queen of Cups. It's that nature of sticking up for yourself, but also being respectful and kind in doing so. Kind to whatever you're saying no to, but also being kind to yourself in saying no. And the no is not you running away, it's you standing strong for yourself. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's see what other oracle cards. We have a few more for you. All right, so we have new experiences and possibilities. Yes, this is a gateway. This is such a gateway for you. This is a gateway for you to recalibrate your Queen of Swords and your Queen of Cups. It is your time to show yourself that you are here and you are strong and you're powerful and you can take your life into your own hands, especially if this ending that you are experiencing, this disappointment, this hardship, if it came from your own making, whether it was quitting a job or ending a relationship or putting any type of situation that had hope on pause. And this new experience, it doesn't have to be so much more grand in terms of something completely different than where you are. Maybe it's a pivot more than a complete ending. But I think in general, this disappointment, this ending was necessary so that you could take control and so that you can know what's right for you and what's not, what's healthier for you and what's not. And so that you can then choose your next experience through those clearer eyes, through that balanced viewpoint of your Queen of Cups and your Queen of Swords. All right, so next we have in your Hero Journey Oracle deck, we have Me Time, Enjoy Your Company. And I do wonder, with our little letter from the universe here, it talked a lot about feeling depleted and exhausted, and that you're giving so much that your well is starting to run a bit dry from excess use. And of course, the me time, enjoy your company, enjoy you. If it is ending a relationship or a friendship, or taking some time or some space away from some more difficult relationships in your life, in saying no to that situation, again, you're saying yes to yourself. And yeah, give yourself some time. I hope you can find a way, whether it is more our idea of the self-care of taking a bath or doing a face mask, like those are great things. But even if it is saying no and laying in your bed for a day and doing nothing, if you're able to do it and you want to do it, I say go for it. I think sometimes even saying no in those respects is an act of self-care. It's almost like doing the things that you feel like others expect of you. It seems like you're caring for yourself in that moment. And oftentimes we are. Sometimes we need to get ourselves to do things we might not feel like we're ready to do. Just like me starting this YouTube channel, being so nervous, but I'm just ready to do it. And I knew that I had to do it. And even though I was scared, and of course I just wanted to take another day to think about it, I was like, no, I'm gonna film the video. And I think sometimes, yes, that can be your way of moving forward and of caring for yourself. But I also 100% support taking a me day or a me weekend or whatever you need, where you do solely what you want to do because you want to do it. So, always an advocate for that. And then, now this is our Sacred Rebels Oracle deck, which is one of my favorites. And we have Follow Your Own Rhythm. And I think that works quite well with the me time and you balancing out your Queen of Cups and your Queen of Swords energy. I feel like this is sort of a reset for you. It's one of those endings that gives you that fresh beginning. And then our final card, we have our Chakra tarot deck. We have the High Priestess, and we're in the solar plexus chakra. And that is all about intuition. That is all about you hearing what your inner voice has to say, hearing any messages that the universe is personally sending you. And I think having your beautiful High Priestess with your beautiful Queen of Swords and your Queen of Cups, I think more than anything, this is just telling you that you are not on the wrong path. You do not need to doubt yourself. And maybe you are. I hope you're not, because that is honestly, one of the most difficult things to work through in situations like this where it's ending, is you start to attack yourself a bit. You start to question all the things you did wrong. But let's remember this. You have the Seven of Swords. That is an external force. And I think it's very important to remember that. And even if it was, now I'm thinking, even if it was an inner force, even if it was you denying yourself something, your intuition knows. You have your High Priestess here, and you have your Follow Your Own Rhythm. Your body, your mind, your soul, they know what they want, and they know what's good for them and what's not. And the solar plexus chakra, I feel like so much, you just know the message coming from the emotions that you're feeling. And that gut feeling that you have, that doesn't lie. We may misunderstand it, and I wonder if that's a bit of where the Seven of Swords comes from, but even if you misunderstand it, that's not an attack on yourself. And that's nothing that needs to be attacked. That is nothing to be judged. That is learning. That is growing. And that is allowing for these new experiences and possibilities to come in now. Because whatever this future thing is, whatever you are going towards, what you've experienced now was necessary to get you there. And I think that if you had in any way in another universe gotten here without having been where you were, it would not have felt the same, and you would have not have been the same walking into it. So yeah, I feel good. I feel really good for you. And I hope you feel good too, because this is a new beginning. This is a fresh start. And I can't wait to see where you go. All right. Thank you, Group 1. See you in the comments. Hello, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. So let's get right into it. Okay, so we'll start with your tarot. So starting off, we have the High Priestess. We have the King of Coins. We have the King of Swords. We have the Page of Coins. We have the Ace of Wands. And we have the Four of Swords. All right, so Group 2, similar to Group 1, you guys have some really, really exciting cards. And honestly, looking through yours, I don't see sort of that telltale negative energy of what has brought you to this disappointment or this hardship or this ending. And first of all, I just want to acknowledge that as a message from the universe of saying that you are doing so well. You are so well off. And whatever this situation is, whatever ending you feel like you're going through, whatever disappointment you are struggling through, the universe wants you to know that this is just a tiny speed bump on a long, successful journey. And I think just starting off with this High Priestess energy and then going straight into both the King of Coins and the King of Swords, you have double King energy right with our High Priestess, who is number 2 in herself. I feel like sort of having this High Priestess being flanked by your kings here is showing you that your intuition is strong. And not only is your intuition strong, it's going to pay off. You're going to have great results of this, whatever this thing is. And I wonder if it's less of something truly ending in your life, but perhaps it's a pivot, perhaps it's a pause, perhaps it's a shift in perspective in how you're going to move forward in something, whether this is a relationship that's hit a rocky patch, but you don't want to go anywhere, but it's that feeling of how do I move forward? How do I not stay complacent? How do I improve this? And just even in a relationship with yourself, I wonder too, if this is sort of you trying to nurture a lot of strong energies within yourself. I mean, you have this very intuitive start, and then you also have both this abundant and productive and capable energy, and then you also have this strong fortitude and intellect with you. And you know you're powerful. You know you have a lot that you can do and a lot that you can transform into goodness, both for yourself and for others. And I feel like you probably, throughout the past few years, have felt this growing momentum with this Page of Coins and then the Ace of Wands. I feel like you have had that enthusiasm. You've had those sparks of inspiration or sparks of joy if it was a relationship. This feeling of where you're going forward. And then the one thing that's interesting is at the end of the tarot, you have your Four of Swords here, which speaks of sort of rest and recuperation. And I wonder if this is just sort of whatever this ending is, whether it's a bump in the road in a relationship where something's going to need to be worked through, but you know that the foundations are solid. It definitely feels like you know where you're going, you know what you want. You just need a few minutes to remind yourself of that. And I think it comes a lot with remembering where your strengths are, remembering this high priestess within you, the king of swords, your king of coins. They're all within you. And I think, quite honestly, I think they're roaring pretty powerfully even now. Because even with this page of coins and the ace of wands, perhaps you're not at the beginning of your journey anymore. Perhaps you are not looking into new possibilities of a completely different path. And perhaps you're not feeling sort of that invigoration of starting something new. You're not feeling like, oh, this is the thing, this new thing, this will be it. And I wonder if all this Four of Swords is here to do is just to have you sort of take a breather, take a breath, take a weekend, take a week, and just really acknowledge everything you've been through. Just really think through it all, look through whether this is... It could be a job. It could be you've been in the same job for a while and you're really looking, you're really hungry for that promotion or for a new set of responsibilities, or perhaps just turning your team in a different direction if you're in a position of power or authority. I think that this Four of Swords is almost just like, it's sort of like a work retreat. I think you just need to sort of step out of the everyday, step out of the things that have sort of bogged you down, and take that time to look at it fresh. And like I said before, I don't think this is about an actual ending. If anything, I think this is more about a transition into a more fresh or healthy or a newer version of what you're already making so strong and so great. Yeah, so that's wonderful. So let's take a look at your oracle cards. We have, from the Work Your Light deck, Trust the Niggle. What is that niggling feeling trying to tell you? So yeah, tuning into that High Priestess energy, because you know. And then you have your King of Swords. It's that wonderful balance of feeling that intuition, feeling the emotional response to your thoughts, but then having that King of Swords to sort of keep your emotions and your intuition not so much in check, but keeping them in conversation enough that you know that you're seeing things clearly. And that niggly feeling, that helps you. And I think sometimes we just feel anxiety and we automatically just want to push away that thing that caused the anxiety. But I think sometimes it's listening to that anxiety, sitting with it, and really trying to figure out, am I pushing this thing away because it's hurting me? Or am I pushing this thing away because I don't know how to have it help me? And I think taking that time, taking that Four of Swords time to think through it and really know what is working and what is not can be really helpful. So next we have our little postcard from the universe. So on the front of the postcard it says, live your dreams. And so let's see what the universe has to say. Dear you, human beings spend a huge percentage of life asleep, not just in bed, but the kind where you forget you are a spiritual, immortal being, taking on a temporary human form. It's not your fault. Everyone suffers from spiritual amnesia once in a while. As you develop an identity and ego, you begin to see through the eyes of a small self and have less connection to your soul self. You may not recognize this is going on, but you sure can feel it. We're here to remind you to look through your soul's eyes and see that magic is everywhere. Infinite potential lies in Spirit, who is teaming with you to fulfill the contract you made to contribute to the evolution of the whole world. Wake up and remember that all the help you need is orchestrated in the invisible realms. Your mind, in alignment with divine intelligence, is unstoppable. The world is yours to create. You are so loved, and we are all behind you. So spiritual amnesia. I wonder if the niggling you're feeling is you thinking that it's all just too much and that you don't know what to do. And perhaps your High Priestess is speaking to you, but perhaps you're not answering the call at the moment. Perhaps you think she's a telemarketer and that you don't need to pick up that call, but that it's actually your intuition speaking. And so maybe your King of Swords and your King of Coins, they're here to help you narrow your focus onto your high priestess so that you can hear her clearly. Interesting. All right, and then we also have pause, and that fits perfectly with our Four of Swords. Yes, I think this is just a call from the universe to take a pause, to think, to feel about how you think and think about how you feel, and just really, really sort of have communion with yourself. Yeah, I like that. And then in your Hero's Journey deck, we have Ally in Disguise. Discover the hard to find blessing. Yeah, this speed bump is your ally. It for sure is. And also, those niggling feelings, those feelings in your gut, those are your allies too. So next in our Sacred Rebels deck, we have Visions of Life Beyond Death. Interesting. Now I do want to look in the book for this one. All right, let's see. I know it's one of the last cards. I think it's the second to last card in the deck. All right. Sacred vision is awakening within you. You're becoming blessed with the ability to truly see, to see what is real rather than what appears to be. This is true insight. What was once considered consequential may soon be found to hold little consequence after all. What was once dismissed as an irritation or irrelevance may be seen to have great spiritual significance. This is sacred terrain, beyond logic, convention, and that which is limited in any way. The more you open up to receiving true vision, the more love you will feel and recognize within and around you. Something may appear to change form, to be shed, to be lost, or to die, but there is love within it always. Yes, it is all about your intuition, and it is all about you using truly what you sense as the tools to help you shape how you view the world around you. And that comes with a deep need for trust in yourself. And like I said, you have every right to trust in yourself. You have your King of Swords, and your King of Coins. You know where you're going. You just gotta let yourself believe it, I think. All right, so our last two cards for you are from the Chakra Tarot deck, and we have the Two of Swords and the Princess of Swords. Interesting. All right, so you're definitely, I think, feeling at a crossroads. You are in this place where you are sort of being forced to pause, I feel like, and take that retreat and listen and think and feel. And all this is doing is getting you ready to wield your power. You are getting to the place where you are ready to be your Princess of Swords. And I think starting with your sacral chakra and then moving into your heart chakra, you very much are in this place where feeling and thinking and sensing within yourself and having those conversations will then lead you to feel stronger about the actions you take to move forward. Your heart chakra will feel so much more grounded to give its speech if you find your grounding in your sacral chakra first. If you find the sense of peace in the stalemate, in the crossroads, think of how much peace you'll have and how much energy you'll have moving forward. Yeah, that's beautiful. And we also have a decent amount of swords energy here. I mean, we have your Four of Swords, your King of Swords, your Princess of Swords, your Two of Swords. Your mind is going. And I wonder if your mind is sort of running a bit in circles at this point, that you need that break. And yeah, maybe that pause is sort of that work retreat that I mentioned, or the couples counseling if you're in a relationship that needs some help. But I think also to a certain extent, I think things just need to calm down for you a little. Because I almost feel like that spiritual amnesia that your postcard was talking about is sort of coming from this place of you're running on empty, and that does not allow for your intuition to speak its most clear messages. So I think take a pause, trust yourself, and you can't go wrong. You're already on a wonderful path. You have so much energy behind you and so much energy that you're moving forward into, and you already have it all within you. So we just need to sort of get your engines back to full power so that you can just move forward into everything you've dreamed of. All right, thank you, group 2. I'd love to see you in the comments and hear what you have to say. So I'll see you there, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. All right, hello group 3, welcome to your reading. Let's jump in. All right, so we're gonna start off with your tarot. So we're starting with the Wheel of Fortune, 2 of Coins, 7 of Wands, the High Priestess, the Emperor, and the 7 of Cups. All right, group 3. So, good energy here. I'm glad to see our High Priestess and the Emperor and the Wheel. Lots of major arcana here. We have, I think, what I'm seeing with your Wheel here, and then next to the 2 of Coins, especially with both of these images here showing a lot of juggling. You're definitely juggling a lot right now. And I don't know if that's physically with your work or some emotional things in either like personal, family, or romantic relationships, or even just the overall situation that you are in right now, even on an emotional level. I just think there's a lot going on, and you're doing a great job of holding it all up and keeping it all sort of in the right place. But I know what comes from that is the sense that it is all on your shoulders. And I think having this Emperor, and then though having your High Priestess, you're definitely feeling the pressure. You're feeling that it's all on your shoulders. You're feeling that you have to be sort of the authority figure, the one in power, the strong one. But what's wonderful about it is you thrive on difficulty. And that's sad to say, but I think it's those stressful situations that you thrive in. And I think that that often serves you very well. But having this 7 of Wands energy here makes me feel like perhaps it's really getting to you at this time. And it is a difficulty that either you're not used to experiencing, because usually being on top of everything feels good to you. Being on top of everything feels like you are thriving, that you really are living, that you're really succeeding. But I wonder if this feeling of being sort of on top of this mountain, I think perhaps you're feeling that there's a long way to fall, and that you're sensing this disappointment or this hardship or just a sense of exhaustion perhaps. Or even with the 7 of Cups, I wonder if it's almost a decision-based situation where you have to make a lot of decisions. There are a lot of big questions being thrown at you, and you feel responsible for having to know, intuitively know what the right answer is to pick. And perhaps you're just sort of seeing yourself running to the edge of that cliff. You're feeling an impending doom. You're feeling that this ending is coming. You don't know how much longer you can go. You don't know how many more decisions, how many more times you're going to have to think through these things and be the person for every other person around you. And I worry that, yes, you're running yourself dry, but I also worry that you're being much harder on yourself than you need to be. I feel that perhaps you feel that this is just your lot, that this is just where your situation is, that you kind of have to be the one at the top of it all, making it all happen, but also the one who everyone can come at if the decisions aren't the end of the right ones. I think you kind of are starting to have an unhealthy relationship with yourself as an authority figure. But I wonder, with the Emperor being tied with this High Priestess, I wonder if you have had to spend so much time being the authority or the decision maker or the leader for other people, And now you are so exhausted from that you're forgetting that you are your own best leader. You are your own best authority figure. And I wonder if you are starting to question your decision making and worry that you will be attacked for it, or that everyone will see that you can no longer do what you used to be able to do, that the juggling that you used to be able to do just isn't what you can do anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether this is a long-term issue or a short-term issue, you need to know that ultimately you matter as much as the people around you, because how can you serve the people that you love or that you value or that you respect if you don't value, respect, and love yourself? And that's very simple to say. And I think you've done it, though. I think you've been doing it for a long time. And I think that's how you were able to do so much, because you cannot pour into others' cups when your cup is empty. So clearly your cup has been full. And I think it's just running a little dry right now. And I wonder if there's a lot of fear of attack or threat or judgment from others in that. And maybe that is even contributing to your insecurity in your decision making, feeling like the answers aren't as clear as they used to be. And I think that's perhaps because you're listening to other voices when we need to be listening to ourselves a bit more. That should be the basis of it. And then helping everyone else is what comes from that. So there's definitely a lot here, but you can do it. You can do it. You can do it, Group 3. So let's look at your Oracle cards, see what else will we have for you. All right, so from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, we have Break the Chain. Ancestral patterns, healing, and rewriting the future. Yes, that makes a lot of sense with your Seven of Wands and your Emperor energy. I wonder if either growing up or at least in the past few years, you have definitely been in a place where you've had a lot on your shoulders. And whether that is from any type of childhood trauma that has given you that sense of sort of having to serve those around you to the point that it's sort of self-protection from being attacked. It could be a sense of social anxiety even. It could be this feeling of owing it to others. But there's definitely some healing that needs to be done in the way that you look at yourself in relation to others. Now, next we have our little postcard from the universe. On the front of the postcard, it says, "With love. Dearest you, we bet you must be so exhausted some days. Giving as much as you do, sharing your energy so beautifully in service to the highest good, can leave you feeling depleted, like an empty well. If it feels as if there's no more water for you, the good news is we have a plan. Today, go take a relaxing bath, book a massage, read a novel, buy yourself flowers or plant some in your garden. Make time for self-care, not more work on yourself. By tending to yourself now, you are reminded to do so more often. And be sure to use a word that might have caused you anxiety in the past, but is essential for your well-being now. No. Say it with us. No, thank you. No, I can't. You do not have to explain. Just say no, gently but firmly. Then go for a soak. Life will wait for you to bring yourself back to center, replenished and ready for more adventure. We love you so very much." Oh, beautiful. Now, I do have to say, Group 3, I did have another group get this same postcard. So if you were feeling called to another deck, I would recommend to watch that one as well. Although I do feel like the message we're getting this time is a bit different. I feel like the depletion that you are feeling specifically is in relation to giving too much of your self-worth to others, I wonder. Especially because we have the Seven of Wands with the Emperor, but then also the High Priestess. I feel like if I just had the Seven of Wands and the Emperor, I would view it more as you feeling responsibility because of the position you're in, whether it is sort of the head of your household, the head of your department at work, whether it's sort of the leader in any sorts of social or community group that you are in. But I feel like having your high priestess here is also showing, just in general, you are feeling depleted as a human on a general interaction with others level. And I wonder if sort of this Wheel of Fortune, Two of Coins balancing act is sort of an everyday struggle for you, just in general, with looking to what others expect of you more than looking at what you expect of yourself. Especially when your postcard is encouraging you to say no and to stick up for yourself and to think for your own benefit for a bit. It's always good to think of others, but I think it's impossible to only think of others. And I think you are in a place where you need to heal, whether it is something that you inherited through your family or through previous experiences. You need to heal your high priestess. You need to heal your emperor too. You need to heal the way you see yourself interacting with others. You need to heal the way you view yourself in relation to others. Yeah. All right, group 3. Let's see what else we have for you. All right, we have higher ground. Yes. I think we are needing to look at your position with other people in a different way. We have higher ground here, and we also have higher ground here in your 7 of Wands card. And the images, of course, are very different, and I think, therefore, the meanings are very different. You are feeling like you're in this type of higher ground right now. You are feeling like you are on the top of a mountain that is so easy to topple down. I think you are feeling a lot of pressure to uphold where you are. But what we want to get you to is this higher ground. Peaceful, beautiful, self-generating. I think that we need to get you this high priestess energy of you filling your own cup first. And the 7 of Cups, because then you are able to fill into more cups, but you're also able to see around you more clearly. You're able to see what other people need. You're able to see that because you are in communion with yourself about what you need. You're being honest in that way. Now, your Journey of the Hero Oracle deck, we have Stop and Take in the View. Take stock of the treasures you've earned. Yes, group 3, I really think you need to hear this too. You have done so much good. You have poured into others. You have, whether it's building a family or building your dream career or being the head of your department in your career or being a leader at your local church or being sort of the head mama of your group of girlfriends or guy friends, you know, being that type of support system for others is so beautiful for you, and you find so much joy in it. But you need to appreciate it in yourself so that you can gain from it too. Maybe that's what it is too. Maybe you have felt this pressure to take care of others, but not getting to experience that relationship of being fed by them as well. That's beautiful. Yeah. Now we also have your Sacred Rebel Oracle here, and it's the perfection of your life. Yes, and I don't want this reading to sound like I'm saying you cannot care for others, that you need to only focus on yourself, because clearly your soul is built to be so fed by your relationship with others and taking care of others and being responsible for them, that I don't want to take that away from you. That is your perfection. And that is the treasure that you have built in your life. But I think it's just that feeling of looking at where that's coming from when you interact with people and knowing whether it's out of fear, whether it's out of feeling like you need to be the authority figure, whether you need to be responsible, whether you need to be answering and fixing everyone's problems all at once. But I think it's also that, yeah, this is what makes you happy, group 3. And I think just making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, for the healthiest reasons for you and for others that you can, that's where your joy will come back. that's where your joy will be found again, in supporting other people, is knowing that you are doing it for yourself and for them, not for any expectations of what you should or should not do. And now your final card is from your Chakra tarot deck, and we have 3 of Swords. Now, group 3, I have felt very heavy energy throughout this reading, and I do feel that your heart is hurting and that you are scared. But I just want to remind you of the perfection that you are, of the treasure that you are, of the perfect treasures that you have built in your life, whether that is your home, your family, your career, your relationships with others. You have done so much good. And it might be hard to see that right now because all you feel is the negativity of the pressure and of the anxiety and of the expectations. But I just want you to, at least today, hear me tell you that you are doing so well. And I'm hoping that in you hearing that, you can start telling that to yourself more. All right, thank you, group 3. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'm wishing you all the best. Thank you, group 3. Bye. All right, hello, group 4. Welcome to your reading. Let's get right into it. All right, so we're going to start with your tarot. So we're starting with 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands, the Tower, Knight of Cups, and Strength. All right, group 4. Something has certainly ended for you. I mean, that is the point of this reading. But how can I argue with your 8 of Cups, your 10 of Wands, and your Tower? You have been through a disappointment, group 4. Ugh. And I wonder if it is something that you had to let go of your own making. I wonder if it is something that you had to say no to for yourself, that you had to say no to either to protect yourself or to take care of yourself, to defend yourself. Whether this is quitting a job that was very toxic for you, whether it was quitting an unhealthy relationship that was no longer serving you, whether it was having to distance yourself from a friend or a family member who was harming you. Either way, I think you have had to say no to something. You have had to cause an end for yourself. And having personally gone through that a couple times in my life, I know that pain, and I know what it feels like to choose to drop the wands, to choose to let the 10 wands fall to the ground because you know you can no longer support them. And I want to make it clear, though, you have your Strength card here. You can do whatever you want to do. But I think with the 10 of Wands, you chose to drop them. You chose to let them go because either they were not the right weight for you. They were not the right type of wands for you to be holding. They were not the right type of expectations or responsibilities or just duties. These might not have been your things to carry. And I think with this Tower card, despite the fact that we have the 8 of Cups, which very much feels like walking away, the fact that you have the the Tower card is that you feel like, despite the fact that you had to make the choice, that you didn't have a choice, that you couldn't have held on any longer in this situation, that you had to do it for yourself, but that wouldn't have been your choice in another world. If this situation had been different, you had so much hope, I'm sure, when you started out on this. You had so much hope for what it would make for your life, for what it would give you, what you could give to it. I think you had beautiful, harmonious, healthy dreams of what this could be. And so I think in having to leave it, it still feels like it was taken away from you because those dreams, those expectations were not met. And I think from having to say no, from having to sort of throw yourself out of the tower, you have gained so much strength. I think there is a great amount of strength to be found in a tower moment always, simply by the fact that this happened to you. Whether or not you were the one to quit this job, to end this relationship, to leave whatever situation this was, you were in it, and you were there, and you were believing in it until you just couldn't believe in it anymore. And being thrown out of what you believed in, it feels like a sense of betrayal. Whether that betrayal is from the situation or the people involved, whether that betrayal is from the sense of the universe. Why would you give this to me only to take it away? Or it could be simply I don't even want to say simply, so tragically, it could feel like a betrayal of yourself. But I want you to know that after the Tower card came the Strength card, and that you know what is right for you. That strength within you of valuing yourself and valuing your mental health and valuing yourself independent of the things that could define you, whether a job or relationship. You know what defines you. And yes, that does not stop it from hurting. That does not hurt. It does not hurt any less having done it for yourself and not having someone else do it to you. Ultimately, quitting a job feels the same as losing a job. The emotions or the people involved, it might feel different, but we never want a situation to turn out poorly for ourselves. We never want that. Either way, we're being thrown out of the tower. But I just think that there is so much strength in you for the fact that you could carry these 10 of Wands for as long as you did. And that you took the leap of the 8 of Cups. I almost want to call this 8 of Cups a Fool card because it really feels like it was for you. I almost feel like you leapt out of the tower looking for something better, looking for whether it was freedom or relief or a chance to search for something new. You jumped out knowing that you had your balloons. You jumped out knowing that you would be caught. But that doesn't stop the pain from hurting. It truly doesn't, and I understand that. But what I want to also bring up to you here is you have the Knight of Cups. And whether this is tied to a relationship or not, you have goodness being promised that's coming. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that this strength, this tower moment, had to happen for a reason. And like I said, it doesn't make it hurt any less, but I hope it scares you a little less. Knowing that the strength that came from you taking that leap out of the tower, it is preparing you for something so much better. And that the universe knows that, and that's why it happened. And that is why the universe is probably with you more than before, in that now you have stood up for yourself. You have taken that leap. You have left something behind that the universe has said, I think in a way, thank you for letting go so that I can give you something better. Thank you for letting these wands drop out of your hands so that I can put this beautiful shining cup into it instead. I just want you to know that, Group 4, because I know what that can feel like, but I'm rooting for you. All right, so let's look at your oracle cards. All right, so in the Work Your Light oracle deck, we have the Initiation, Rite of Passage, Crossing the Threshold. Yes, Group 4, you stepped out of that tower and you flew. You flew. And yes, this world here in this image looks dark, but look at the beauty waiting for you. Look at the crack in the wall that you have created, and you can just keep chipping away at it until you break through to something new and beautiful. And you need lots of strength to do that. So Group 4, know that you are strong. You are so, so strong. All right, so we also have our little postcard from the universe. On the front of the postcard, it says, you are magic. And let's see what the universe has to say. Dear you, there is only one you, and you have a unique place in the universe. Sometimes situations come up that challenge you to be authentic, and that means you have to fully be yourself and let go of being what you think others may want. Now is not the time to conform to other people's standards or expectations. Be proud of who you are and be courageous. Stand tall in your convictions. Being yourself is a powerful statement and will only lead you to success and ultimately happiness. Don't compare yourself to other people. Want what you have, choose what your heart wants, and know that your purpose is yours alone. No one else can claim your magic nor take it away. When you place authenticity and originality high on your list of priorities and give them a prominent place in your awareness, extraordinary things happen. Your life is a beautiful one. Love you always and forever. Oh, group 4, that's beautiful. And I'm so glad that that message is being sent to you when you're in this very precious, vulnerable time right now. Because let's just remember, you are so strong. And I'm going to keep saying that because I just want you to know that. Because I know that sometimes letting go of those wands can make you feel like you're weaker than ever. But you're not. You're stronger than ever because you're choosing yourself. You're choosing your values. You're choosing your health, mental or physical. You're choosing your heart. You're choosing your spirit. And that is so important. And when you do that, the universe has promised you that you will not fail. You will not. Now we also have clear endeavor. And you may not feel that you have a clear endeavor right now. I know that this tower moment, whether it happened recently or whether you are recovering from it still, your path ahead will be clear when the time comes to start on that path. Whether you're taking a bit of time off to regroup, whether you are just going to lie low for a while and do the minimum until you feel like you've recovered. Because I mean, an important part of any breakup or any loss is grief, and you deserve to grieve, and it's necessary. And I want you to know that just because things seem dark in the grief stage does not mean that there will not be a clear path for you ahead when you move through that sense of grief. It's similar to this initiation card. You're in the darkness, you're in the grief, you're in the muddle, but when it is clear, when the dust has settled on this situation, when the tower is no longer still crumbling, you will be able to climb through to something better. All right, now your hero's journey oracle, we have stop and take in the view. Take stock of the treasures you've earned. Now this is interesting, group 4, because I feel like there have been a few times today where we have got cards repeating between decks, which is strange, but it works so well. And maybe that's just because of the theme of this video. In general, disappointment and endings, they all have a similar feel to them. No matter if it's a job or a relationship, I think that sense of losing something, it's gonna hurt either way. But I want you to know, take stock of the treasures that you have and that you have amassed over this time. I think in part, the struggles you've been through, the strength that you have been able to gain from those struggles is incredible. And you don't want to always have to live that way. You don't always have to feel like you have to carry the 10 of Swords in order to have the strength of the Strength card. But these experiences will be with you whether you continue to hold the 10 of Wands or not, and that's where your strength will lie. So I do want you to stop in these moments of grief or of recovering from that grief. I want you to stop and take in the view of all you've done and how much you've grown since then, because you deserve that, group 4. You really, really do. All right, so next we have your Sacred Rebels deck, and we have Sacred Fool. And I think that's fitting for the fact that I mentioned before about I get a very much a Fool energy from this 8 of Cups, that I almost feel like you threw yourself out of the tower, hoping that you would be caught simply for the fact that you knew you could not survive in the tower any longer. And I understand how that can feel foolish. I understand how throwing yourself out of this tower could feel so dangerous. Oh, but group 4, that was the best thing you could have done. And I think that's the beauty of the Fool as well, is that it is taking those leaps that allow for the next stage of life to begin, that allow for growth to begin. And I love that the Fool in this deck is the Sacred Fool. because you are, because you trust yourself, you trust your intuition, you trust where the universe is calling you, and therefore everything you do is sacred, Group 4. And now the final card we have for you today is the Princess of Coins. Just a promise of all that is to come. And like I said, you're probably feeling weary. You're probably feeling like you just came out of battle, whether this ending or disappointment just occurred or whether you're still recovering from it. But just like I said with this Clear Endeavor card, Group 4, you have a lot to come. And when that time comes for you to step up and move forward again, you will have that joy and that excitement in your heart. Yes, there might be some fear of this tower. And yes, you're going to see what the world looked like right before you jumped out that window. You're going to see that when you try to take a step forward again. I'm sorry to say you will. The choice to leave something behind will echo in your head again and in your heart again when it comes time to take another step forward. It's only natural. Our brains are going to think of what we've been through to try to prepare for what's ahead. But I want you to know that one of the main differences between then and when this time comes for you is the strength and the lessons that you have learned from that time. You will be a different person when the new era comes for you. And that will make all the difference. All right. Wonderful reading, Group 4. I am wishing you all the best. I hope to see you in the comments of this video. I love to see you there. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.